Before you scroll, my beloved child, before you listen any further, let this moment arrive softly, like a quiet breath you didn't realize you were holding, because something gentle is unfolding around you right now. There are seasons in life when nothing dramatic announces itself. No loud signs. No sudden shifts. Just a subtle change in the air that you feel before you understand it. This is one of those moments. A quiet turning point where your heart has been learning patience, even when you thought it was only learning endurance. You have walked through days where kindness felt rare, where understanding seemed delayed, where you gave more than you received and wondered if it was worth continuing that way. Yet here you are, still open, still hoping, still capable of warmth. That alone says more about your strength than any achievement ever could. Someone with a pure heart does not enter loudly. They don't rush in to impress or overwhelm. They arrive gently, almost unnoticed at first, because their presence feels natural, not forced. Their energy doesn't demand attention, it invites trust. And that is what makes this moment important to recognize. Don't skip this thought, because it carries a quiet truth: purity of heart isn't perfection. It's sincerity. It's someone who has felt disappointment but chose softness anyway. Someone who understands boundaries without building walls. Someone who listens more than they speak, and when they speak, their words feel steady instead of sharp. You may not recognize this person immediately. Sometimes they enter your life disguised as simplicity. A conversation that feels calm instead of exciting. A presence that doesn't drain you. A connection that doesn't ask you to prove yourself. These are often overlooked in a world that celebrates intensity over peace. Pause for a moment and notice how much you've changed. You no longer crave chaos dressed as passion. You no longer feel drawn to uncertainty disguised as mystery. You are learning, slowly, honestly, to value what feels safe without feeling boring, what feels gentle without feeling weak. This is not coincidence. It is growth. The heart you have been shaping through patience, self-reflection, and quiet resilience is becoming more attuned to what truly nourishes it. And when a pure-hearted person enters your life, they resonate with that inner clarity. Not because they complete you, but because they respect who you already are. Stay till the end, because understanding this can help you recognize what truly matters when the moment arrives. A gentle heart often mirrors your own. It does not rush you to open up. It gives you space to breathe. It respects silence. It values consistency over intensity. And perhaps most importantly, it doesn't try to change you into someone else, it encourages you to be more fully yourself. You may feel calmer around them without knowing why. Conversations may feel lighter, yet meaningful. You might notice that you don't need to perform, explain, or protect yourself in the same way. This is not accidental. It's what happens when emotional safety replaces emotional tension. There is no rush attached to this message. No pressure to act, to decide, to label. The gentlest connections unfold in their own time. They reveal themselves slowly, through reliability, through presence, through moments that don't need grand explanations. If part of you has been guarding your heart, that's understandable. Protection is not a flaw, it's wisdom earned through experience. But protection does not have to mean closure. It can mean discernment. And discernment allows you to notice when something feels steady instead of uncertain. Something meaningful is waiting for you. Not as a reward, not as a promise, but as a possibility that aligns with the person you are becoming. This message is not asking you to expect anything specific. It's simply inviting you to remain open to softness. To recognize that calm is not absence, it is presence. To remember that genuine care often arrives quietly and stays consistently. You don't need to search for this person. You don't need to prepare or change yourself. Just continue living with the honesty and kindness you already carry. What aligns with that will recognize you naturally. In the next moments of your life, perhaps in ordinary places, ordinary conversations, pay attention to how you feel rather than what you think you should feel. Peace is a form of connection too. And when it shows up, it deserves your awareness. This is not about destiny. It is about readiness. Not about guarantees, but about alignment. And right now, your heart is learning to recognize what feels real, gentle, and quietly supportive. Let this awareness stay with you as you move forward. Not as expectation, but as openness. Not as anticipation, but as calm trust in your own emotional wisdom. Because when a pure heart enters your life, it doesn't announce itself. It simply feels like relief. My beloved child, as this moment unfolds, let yourself arrive fully here, because sometimes the quiet continuation of a journey holds more meaning than the beginning ever could. There are things your heart understands now that it didn't before. Not because life explained them clearly, but because you lived through moments that taught you gently, patiently, and sometimes silently. You have learned how to pause. You have learned how to listen inward. You have learned that growth does not always announce itself with confidence, it often whispers. You may notice that you are no longer chasing what once felt urgent. The need to be seen, to be validated, to be understood by everyone has softened. In its place, something steadier has formed. A quiet respect for your own rhythm. A deeper awareness of what drains you and what restores you. This shift matters more than you might realize. Don't skip this part, because it speaks to something subtle yet powerful. When your inner world becomes calmer, your outer connections begin to reflect that calm, not immediately, not dramatically, but honestly. You are becoming more selective, not out of fear, but out of clarity. You are beginning to recognize the difference between attention and care, between noise and presence. This awareness is not accidental. It comes from honoring your experiences rather than dismissing them. There are moments when you might wonder if being gentle makes you invisible in a world that often rewards loudness. But gentleness has its own kind of gravity. It draws in what is sincere. It filters out what is rushed. It creates space for connections that don't require constant effort to sustain. Think about how far you've come emotionally. You've learned to sit with uncertainty without needing immediate answers. You've learned to find comfort within yourself instead of searching endlessly outside. You've learned that peace is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of self-trust. Stay till the end, because understanding this can change how you interpret the quiet moments ahead. The next phase of your life is not asking you to do more. It's inviting you to notice more. To pay attention to how your body responds in certain conversations. To observe how your energy feels after spending time with different people. To trust those signals without overanalyzing them. A meaningful connection, of any kind, often reveals itself through consistency. Through respect that doesn't fluctuate. Through interest that doesn't feel intrusive. Through support that doesn't demand repayment. These qualities don't always stand out immediately, but they leave a lasting impression once recognized. You may find yourself appreciating simplicity in ways you didn't before. Shared silence. Thoughtful words. Genuine curiosity. These are not small things. They are signs of emotional maturity, both in you and in those who resonate with you. There is no need to rush toward conclusions or labels. The most grounded relationships, whether friendships, collaborations, or deeper bonds, grow organically. They develop through trust built over time, not through intensity compressed into moments. Something meaningful is waiting for you, not as an event, but as an experience that unfolds gradually, revealing its value through how it makes you feel over time. You are allowed to move at your own pace. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to choose what feels aligned rather than what looks impressive. These permissions are not selfish, they are necessary for genuine fulfillment. If part of you still carries old patterns of doubt, be gentle with that part. It learned caution for a reason. But also allow yourself to recognize when caution no longer needs to lead. When discernment can replace defense. When openness can coexist with wisdom. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where your growth has brought you. And that place is more grounded, more aware, and more emotionally spacious than you might give yourself credit for. As you move forward, let gratitude guide you, not just for what arrives, but for what no longer needs to stay. Gratitude has a way of softening transitions and clarifying priorities. It helps you honor both endings and beginnings without clinging to either. This part of your journey is not about seeking something new. It's about recognizing what feels right when it appears. About trusting your inner response rather than external expectations. About allowing calm to be a sign of depth, not absence. Carry this awareness with you gently. Let it inform your choices without controlling them. Let it remind you that meaningful connections often arrive when you are no longer searching desperately, but living authentically. And as the path continues to unfold, remember this: your capacity for peace is one of your greatest strengths. The more you honor it, the more your life reflects it, quietly, steadily, and sincerely. My beloved child, as you continue listening, let this moment feel like a soft pause in your day, a place where nothing is demanded of you except honesty with yourself. There is a quiet strength growing within you, and it isn't loud or dramatic. It doesn't announce itself through confidence or certainty. It shows up as steadiness. As the ability to remain kind even when things feel unclear. As the courage to slow down when the world seems to push for speed. You may not always notice this strength because it feels natural now. It feels like the way you breathe. But there was a time when calm did not come easily to you, when reflection felt uncomfortable, when silence felt heavy. The fact that it feels different now is not accidental. It is the result of learning how to be present with yourself. Don't skip this thought, because it matters more than it seems. Peace is not something you stumble upon, it's something you practice, often without realizing it. You've been practicing it by choosing your words more carefully, by stepping back instead of reacting immediately, by listening to what your body and emotions are telling you, even when you don't fully understand them yet. These choices shape your inner landscape, creating space for clarity and compassion. There is a gentle invitation in this phase of your life to trust what feels steady rather than what feels intense. Intensity can be captivating, but steadiness is what sustains. Steadiness allows you to grow without feeling pulled apart. It gives you room to be curious instead of defensive. You might find yourself drawn to moments of quiet connection, simple conversations, shared laughter without expectation, comfortable silence that doesn't need to be filled. These moments don't always look important from the outside, but they carry a depth that lasts. Stay till the end, because this understanding can help you recognize when something is nourishing your spirit rather than merely distracting it. Reflection does not mean dwelling on the past. It means learning from it without carrying its weight forward unnecessarily. You are allowed to acknowledge what shaped you without letting it define every step you take next. Gratitude plays a subtle role here. Not the kind that ignores difficulty, but the kind that recognizes growth within it. Gratitude for lessons learned, for boundaries formed, for resilience built quietly over time. This form of gratitude steadies you, reminding you that nothing you experienced was wasted. As you move through your days, you may notice a shift in what you value. You might prioritize sincerity over charm, presence over promises, understanding over agreement. These shifts reflect a deeper alignment with your own needs, not a loss of openness. Something meaningful is waiting for you. Not as a destination, but as a feeling that emerges when you allow yourself to be fully where you are. This meaning often reveals itself in unexpected ways. A sense of ease in a moment you didn't plan. A feeling of being understood without having to explain everything. A quiet assurance that you are allowed to take up space exactly as you are. There is no rush attached to this message. Growth unfolds at its own pace, guided by awareness rather than urgency. You don't need to compare your journey to anyone else's. Your rhythm is valid. Your timing is your own. If uncertainty appears, greet it with curiosity rather than resistance. Uncertainty does not mean you are lost, it means you are open to learning. It means you are willing to explore without needing immediate certainty. Inner peace is not fragile. It does not disappear when challenged. It adapts. It deepens. It becomes more resilient through practice. And you have been practicing, even on days when it didn't feel like progress. Let yourself appreciate how much softer your self-talk has become. How you now offer yourself understanding where you once offered criticism. This shift is profound. It changes how you experience everything else. As you continue forward, remember that meaningful experiences often arrive quietly. They don't require grand gestures to be real. They show up through consistency, respect, and mutual care. Through moments that leave you feeling grounded rather than drained. Carry this awareness gently. Let it inform your choices without overwhelming them. Let it remind you that your inner world deserves the same attention you give to the outer one. You are not meant to have everything figured out. You are meant to stay present, receptive, and kind to yourself most of all. In doing so, you create the conditions for calm understanding to grow naturally. And as this part comes to a close, hold on to this simple truth: the peace you are cultivating within yourself is not temporary. It is becoming part of who you are, shaping your path quietly, steadily, and with grace. My beloved child, let this moment meet you gently, like a quiet reassurance that you do not have to carry everything alone as you continue listening. There is a softness forming in you that once might have felt unfamiliar. Not the kind of softness that leaves you unprotected, but the kind that allows you to respond rather than react. It shows up in the way you pause before speaking, in the way you consider your own needs with the same care you offer others. This softness is strength that has learned how to rest. You may notice that your expectations have changed. You are no longer drawn to promises that sound impressive but feel unstable. Instead, you notice consistency. You appreciate sincerity. You value effort that does not require persuasion. These changes are subtle, yet they shape your experiences more than you might realize. Don't skip this reflection, because it speaks to a quiet truth: the more you respect your inner boundaries, the more clarity you invite into your life. Clarity does not always bring immediate answers. Sometimes it simply helps you recognize what no longer aligns with you. And that recognition is a form of progress. Letting go does not always involve action. It can be as simple as no longer investing emotional energy where it is not returned. There may be moments when you question whether choosing peace means missing out on excitement or possibility. But peace does not limit possibility, it refines it. It creates space for experiences that feel nourishing instead of draining, steady instead of uncertain. Stay till the end, because understanding this distinction can help you trust your choices without needing constant reassurance. You are learning how to listen inward, to notice when something feels right not because it excites you, but because it steadies you. This inner listening is not something you were taught, it is something you discovered through experience, through reflection, through patience with yourself. Gratitude continues to play a quiet role here. Not as obligation, but as awareness. Gratitude for moments of calm. For conversations that feel balanced. For days when nothing extraordinary happens, yet you feel content. These moments build a foundation of inner peace that does not depend on circumstances. Something meaningful is waiting for you in this awareness. Not as an outcome, but as a way of being that supports you no matter what unfolds. You may begin to notice that you are less inclined to explain yourself. Not because you are closed, but because you trust your choices. This trust allows you to move through the world with a steadier sense of self, less influenced by external expectations. Reflection does not mean retreating from life. It means engaging with it more intentionally. Choosing where to invest your time, energy, and care. allowing yourself to grow without pressure to perform or prove anything. If moments of doubt arise, let them pass through gently. Doubt does not erase your progress, it often appears when you are stepping into unfamiliar territory. Treat it with kindness rather than resistance. Your inner strength is becoming quieter, but it is also becoming deeper. It no longer needs to be tested constantly. It exists as a steady presence that supports you, even when things feel uncertain. As you move forward, notice how your relationships, of all kinds, are influenced by this shift. You may find yourself drawn to those who communicate clearly, who respect your pace, who value honesty over intensity. These connections reflect your own growth. Carry this understanding with you. Let it remind you that choosing peace is not avoidance, it is wisdom. That softness can coexist with clarity. That patience can lead to meaningful fulfillment. You do not need to rush this process. Growth that is integrated unfolds gradually, allowing you to adapt without strain. Trust this rhythm. It honors who you are and who you are becoming. As this part comes to a close, remember that the calm you are cultivating is not fragile. It is resilient. It holds you steady as you continue your journey, guiding you quietly toward experiences that align with your inner truth. And in this steadiness, you are learning something invaluable, that peace, once chosen and practiced, becomes a companion you can rely on, gently, consistently, and with quiet confidence. My beloved child, as you arrive at this moment, let it feel like a gentle continuation rather than a beginning, as though your heart already knows what needs to be heard. There is a quiet confidence taking shape within you now. It does not come from having all the answers, but from trusting yourself to move forward even when answers are still forming. This confidence feels calm, not rushed. It allows you to stand comfortably in uncertainty without feeling unsettled by it. You may notice that you are no longer compelled to fill every silence. Where there was once discomfort, there is now ease. Silence has become a place of rest rather than a space to escape. This shift speaks to a deeper relationship you are building with yourself, one rooted in acceptance rather than expectation. Don't skip this moment, because it holds an important reminder. Inner peace often grows where self-approval replaces self-judgment. You are learning how to acknowledge your efforts without minimizing them. How to recognize progress without comparing it to anyone else's path. This recognition doesn't make you complacent, it makes you grounded. It gives you a stable place from which to continue growing. As you reflect on your recent experiences, you might notice how your reactions have softened. Situations that once stirred frustration or doubt now invite curiosity instead. This doesn't mean challenges have disappeared. It means your relationship with them has changed. Stay till the end, because this understanding can help you navigate what lies ahead with greater ease. There is a gentle wisdom emerging in how you choose to engage with the world. You are becoming more attentive to what nourishes you emotionally. You notice when conversations feel balanced. You appreciate when effort flows both ways. These observations guide you naturally, without forcing decisions. Gratitude deepens in this space. Not as a requirement, but as a natural response. Gratitude for clarity. For rest. For moments of connection that feel sincere. For days that unfold quietly without needing to be extraordinary. This gratitude steadies you, offering perspective without pressure. Something meaningful is waiting for you in this awareness. Not as a reward, but as a sense of alignment that feels reassuring and true. You may also notice a growing respect for your own limits. Saying no feels less heavy. Choosing rest feels less like avoidance. These boundaries are not barriers, they are expressions of care for your well-being. When uncertainty appears, you meet it differently now. You listen before reacting. You allow space for understanding to develop. This patience reflects trust, not in outcomes, but in your ability to adapt thoughtfully. Your inner strength is no longer defined by endurance alone. It includes gentleness. It includes rest. It includes the courage to choose what feels supportive over what feels demanding. As you continue forward, let yourself move with intention rather than urgency. There is no need to rush clarity. Understanding unfolds as you give yourself permission to be present. Reflection does not isolate you, it connects you more deeply to what matters. It helps you recognize patterns without being confined by them. It invites growth without insisting on perfection. Carry this steadiness with you. Let it guide your interactions, your choices, and your moments of rest. Allow it to remind you that calm is not a pause in your journey, it is part of the path itself. You are becoming someone who values depth over display, meaning over momentum, presence over pressure. This transformation is quiet, yet powerful. It reshapes your experiences from the inside out. As this part draws to a close, hold on to this. Understanding, the peace you are cultivating is not dependent on circumstances. It lives within your choices, your awareness, and your willingness to honor yourself. And in honoring yourself, you create a life that feels more balanced, more authentic, and gently guided by inner clarity, one thoughtful moment at a time. My beloved child, before the day pulls you forward again, let this moment feel like a quiet pause where your heart can settle and listen without effort. There is a sense of integration happening within you now. Pieces of yourself that once felt separate, strength and softness, clarity and curiosity, independence and connection, are learning how to coexist. This balance does not demand perfection. It simply asks for honesty and patience, both of which you are already practicing. You may feel less inclined to seek reassurance from the outside. Not because you have closed yourself off, but because your inner voice has grown steadier. You trust it more. You recognize its tone. It guides you gently rather than urgently, reminding you that you are capable of navigating what comes next. Don't skip this reflection, because it reveals something important. Confidence does not always feel bold, it often feels calm. Calm allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. It helps you notice when something aligns with you and when it quietly doesn't. This awareness saves energy. It protects your peace without hardening your heart. As you move through your days, you might notice that your attention is drawn to what feels genuine. You value moments that are simple yet sincere. You appreciate people who show up consistently, even in small ways. These preferences reflect a deeper understanding of what supports you emotionally. Stay till the end, because this awareness can help you recognize fulfillment in places you might once have overlooked. Reflection has become a companion rather than a task. You no longer use it to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. This shift changes everything. It turns experience into insight and challenges into teachers, without forcing meaning where it doesn't belong. Gratitude continues to unfold naturally. Not just for positive outcomes, but for clarity gained through uncertainty. Gratitude for rest. For perspective. For the ability to pause and choose thoughtfully. This gratitude grounds you, reminding you that growth is already happening. Something meaningful is waiting for you within this grounded presence. Not as a sudden realization, but as a steady sense of alignment that develops over time. You are also learning how to hold space, for yourself and for others, without losing balance. You listen without absorbing what isn't yours to carry. You care without overextending. These boundaries are quiet acts of respect, both inward and outward. When moments of doubt appear, they no longer linger as long. You recognize them as signals rather than obstacles. They invite reflection, not fear. This relationship with doubt allows you to move forward without needing constant certainty. Your inner strength has matured. It no longer relies on endurance alone. It includes discernment, rest, and self-compassion. This strength supports you quietly, helping you remain steady even when circumstances shift. As you continue on your path, let yourself remain open to connection without forcing it. Meaningful relationships, of all kinds, often grow in environments of mutual respect and patience. They unfold naturally when there is room to breathe. Carry this steadiness with you. Let it influence how you speak, how you listen, how you decide. Allow it to remind you that your worth is not measured by urgency or output, but by authenticity and presence. You do not need to rush toward the next chapter. You are already within it, shaping it through awareness and intention. Every thoughtful pause contributes to its unfolding. As this part comes to a close, hold on to this quiet truth: the peace you are cultivating is not passive. It is active, intentional, and deeply supportive. It strengthens you without demanding attention. And in this quiet strength, you continue to grow, patiently, honestly, and with a sense of inner guidance that feels both steady and kind. My beloved child, as you settle into this moment, allow yourself to notice how far your inner landscape has expanded, even if no one else can see it yet. There is a quiet maturity forming in the way you move through your days. It shows itself in your patience, in your willingness to listen, in your ability to pause before deciding. This maturity does not feel heavy. It feels freeing. It gives you room to choose thoughtfully rather than react instinctively. You may sense that you are no longer driven by the same urgency as before. The need to rush towards certainty has softened. In its place, there is a growing comfort with unfolding. You understand now that not everything needs to be resolved immediately to be meaningful. Don't skip this realization, because it carries a gentle truth. Trust grows when you allow life to reveal itself at a human pace. You have been learning to trust yourself in small, consistent ways. Trusting your instincts when something feels right. Trusting your need for rest without guilt. Trusting that you can adjust your path without starting over. These quiet acts of trust accumulate, shaping a steadier sense of self. As you reflect, you may notice that your attention has shifted from outcomes to experiences. You value how moments feel, not just what they produce. You recognize that fulfillment often comes from presence rather than achievement. Stay till the end, because this awareness can transform how you experience what comes next. There is a gentleness in how you now approach challenges. Instead of pushing through resistance, you listen to it. You ask what it might be teaching you. This approach does not slow you down, it guides you more wisely. Gratitude continues to weave itself into your perspective. Not as a demand to feel thankful all the time, but as a quiet acknowledgement of growth. Gratitude for lessons learned. For clarity gained. For the ability to remain open even after uncertainty. Something meaningful is waiting for you within this openness. Not as a single moment, but as a way of relating to life that feels more aligned and less strained. You may also notice that your sense of connection has deepened. You listen more fully. You speak more honestly. You appreciate mutual understanding over agreement. These qualities create space for relationships that feel supportive rather than performative. Your inner peace is no longer something you seek, it is something you protect gently. You recognize when to engage and when to step back. You honor your energy as something valuable, not something to be spent carelessly. When moments of uncertainty arise, you meet them with curiosity rather than judgment. You allow questions to exist without forcing answers. This patience reflects confidence in your ability to adapt and learn. Your strength now includes softness. It includes the courage to be present with discomfort without being defined by it. This balance allows you to grow without losing yourself. As you continue forward, let yourself move with intention rather than pressure. Allow your choices to reflect what feels sustaining, not just what feels impressive. This intention shapes a life that feels more grounded and genuine. Carry this calm awareness with you. Let it guide how you respond, how you connect, how you rest. Allow it to remind you that your journey does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. You are allowed to evolve quietly. You are allowed to take pride in subtle progress. You are allowed to value peace as a sign of strength. As this part gently closes, remember this: the steadiness you are cultivating is becoming part of your natural rhythm. It supports you without demanding attention. It guides you without urgency. And in this steady rhythm, you continue to grow. Patiently, thoughtfully, and with a quiet confidence that honors who you are and who you are becoming. My beloved child, as this next moment opens, let it feel like a quiet doorway rather than a destination, inviting you to step forward without needing to know exactly where it leads. There is a subtle sense of readiness within you now. Not the kind that demands action, but the kind that allows awareness. You are more present with your thoughts, more attentive to your emotions, more willing to sit with what arises instead of rushing past it. This readiness is gentle, and it honors your pace. You may notice that your inner world feels less crowded. Not empty, but clearer. Thoughts arrive and pass without holding you tightly. Emotions surface and soften without overwhelming you. This clarity did not come from avoiding life, it came from engaging with it honestly. Don't skip this moment, because it reveals something important. Clarity grows when you allow yourself to slow down enough to notice it. You are becoming more comfortable with simplicity. You no longer feel the need to complicate what feels true. If something brings ease, you let it. If something brings tension, you examine it kindly rather than judging yourself for feeling it. This approach creates balance within you. As you move through your days, you might find yourself appreciating small consistencies. Familiar routines. Thoughtful gestures. Steady conversations. These are
not distractions from growth, they are expressions of it. Stay till the end, because this awareness can help you recognize fulfillment in moments that once seemed ordinary. There is a quiet confidence in how you now respond to change. Instead of resisting it, you adapt thoughtfully. You give yourself time to adjust. You listen to what the change asks of you without assuming it demands everything at once. Gratitude continues to ground you, not as a rule, but as recognition. Gratitude for the ability to pause. For the clarity to choose rest when needed. For the strength to remain open even when outcomes are uncertain. This gratitude steadies you, helping you remain present. Something meaningful is waiting for you within this steadiness. Not as a promise, but as a natural result of living with awareness and care. You may also notice that your sense of self feels less defined by roles or expectations. You allow yourself to simply be, without constantly evaluating whether you are doing enough or becoming enough. This permission creates space for authenticity to grow. When challenges appear, you approach them with curiosity rather than pressure. You ask what they can teach you rather than how quickly they can be resolved. This mindset supports resilience without strain. Your inner peace is no longer something you search for. It is something you cultivate daily through small, intentional choices. Choosing rest. Choosing honesty. Choosing patience. These choices may seem simple, but they shape your experience profoundly. As you continue forward, allow yourself to remain receptive. Receptive to learning. Receptive to connection. Receptive to moments of stillness that offer insight without urgency. Carry this openness gently. Let it influence how you listen, how you respond, how you care for yourself. Allow it to remind you that growth does not need to be loud to be real. You are learning how to trust the quiet signals within you. The sense of ease that follows a thoughtful decision. The calm that arrives when you honor your limits. These signals guide you more reliably than external noise ever could. As this part comes to a close, hold on to this understanding. Your journey is unfolding in a way that honors both who you have been and who you are becoming. There is room for reflection, for rest, for steady progress. And in this unfolding, you are discovering that peace is not something you reach at the end, it is something you experience along the way, moment by moment, with gentle awareness and quiet confidence. My beloved child, as you enter this next quiet stretch of reflection, let it feel like a gentle exhale, one that reminds you how far you have come without asking you to go anywhere else just yet. There is a deeper sense of trust settling into you now. Not a trust built on certainty, but one formed through lived experience. You have learned that you can move forward even when everything is not clear, and that knowledge has softened the way you hold yourself through change. You may notice that your thoughts no longer rush ahead of you as often. They linger, they settle, they give you time to respond rather than react. This slowing is not a loss of momentum, it is a refinement of direction. It allows you to choose with care instead of impulse. Don't skip this realization, because it carries a gentle truth. When you stop rushing yourself, life often meets you with more clarity. You are becoming more aware of what feels balanced and what feels draining. This awareness is not judgmental. It does not label experiences as good or bad. It simply notices how your energy responds, and it respects that response. This respect is an act of self-trust. As you reflect on your recent days, you may see moments where you chose patience over urgency, understanding over assumption, rest over resistance. These choices may not have seemed significant at the time, yet they quietly reshaped your inner world. Stay till the end, because this awareness can help you recognize how peace grows through consistency rather than effort. Gratitude continues to reveal itself in small ways. Gratitude for pauses that allowed you to breathe. For conversations that felt honest. For boundaries that protected your well-being. This gratitude does not erase challenges, it gives them context. You are learning that fulfillment does not always arrive through accomplishment. Sometimes it appears as contentment. As a sense of being settled within yourself. As the quiet knowing that you are allowed to move at your own pace. Something meaningful is waiting for you within this steadiness. Not as a promise of change, but as a deeper connection to the present moment. You may also notice that your expectations of others have shifted. You value authenticity more than perfection. Effort more than explanation. Presence more than performance. These values reflect your own growth, and they guide you toward interactions that feel more genuine. When uncertainty arises, you no longer rush to resolve it. You allow it space. You trust that understanding will unfold when it needs to. This patience is not passive, it is grounded in confidence that you can adapt thoughtfully. Your inner peace has become something you recognize quickly now. You feel it when a choice aligns with you. You notice its absence when something asks too much. These signals guide you gently, helping you remain centered. As you continue forward, allow yourself to remain open without pressure. Open to learning. Open to connection. Open to moments of stillness that offer insight quietly. This openness does not require you to change, it invites you to deepen. Carry this awareness with you. Let it shape how you listen, how you speak, how you rest. Allow it to remind you that growth is not measured by speed, but by alignment. You are becoming more comfortable with who you are in the present, without postponing acceptance until some future version of yourself arrives. This comfort creates space for genuine growth, free from strain. As this part gently comes to a close, hold on to this understanding: the calm you are cultivating is not temporary. It is a skill you are strengthening. A way of relating to yourself and the world that supports you steadily. And in this steady calm, you continue to move forward, not hurried, not stalled, but grounded, guided by inner clarity, quiet confidence, and a growing sense of peace that feels truly your own. My beloved child, before this chapter settles into your memory, let it arrive like a quiet understanding that has been waiting patiently for you to notice it. There is a sense of wholeness beginning to form, not because everything is complete, but because you are no longer at war with the unfinished parts of yourself. You have learned how to hold space for who you are becoming without rejecting who you have been. This acceptance is gentle, and it changes how you move through the world. You may feel less pulled by urgency now. The constant push to arrive somewhere else has softened. In its place is a steadier rhythm, one that allows you to be present without feeling behind. This rhythm does not rush you forward or hold you back. It simply supports you as you are. Don't skip this moment, because it carries a quiet truth. Peace often appears when you stop negotiating your worth with the future. You are beginning to recognize that your value does not depend on transformation alone. It exists in consistency, in effort, in the small, thoughtful choices you make each day. This realization allows you to rest without guilt and to move forward without pressure. As you look back on your recent reflections, you may notice how much gentler your inner dialogue has become. You speak to yourself with more understanding. You offer patience where there was once frustration. This shift matters deeply. It shapes every experience that follows. Stay till the end, because this awareness helps you see how inner kindness becomes outer clarity. You are learning how to trust what feels balanced. How to choose what sustains you rather than what exhausts you. This discernment is not restrictive, it is freeing. It gives you permission to invest your energy where it can grow naturally. Gratitude now feels woven into your days, not as obligation, but as presence. Gratitude for calm mornings. For honest conversations. For moments of quiet that allow insight to surface. This gratitude steadies you, reminding you that meaning does not always arrive through change, it often arrives through recognition. Something meaningful is waiting for you within this recognition. Not as a milestone, but as a way of living that feels aligned and sincere. You may notice that your expectations of yourself have softened. You no longer demand constant progress. You allow for pauses. You respect cycles of effort and rest. This balance supports resilience without strain. When uncertainty appears, you no longer interpret it as failure. You see it as part of the process of understanding. This perspective allows you to remain open without feeling unsettled. It reminds you that clarity develops through engagement, not avoidance. Your inner strength now includes trust. Trust in your ability to respond thoughtfully. Trust in your capacity to learn. Trust in your willingness to adjust without losing yourself. This trust supports you quietly, without needing affirmation. As this journey continues beyond these words, let yourself remain receptive. Receptive to connection that feels mutual. Receptive to insights that arrive gently. Receptive to stillness that offers guidance without urgency. Carry this calm forward. Let it inform how you choose, how you listen, how you rest. Allow it to remind you that you do not need to prove your growth for it to be real. You are allowed to value peace as progress. You are allowed to move at a pace that honors your well-being. You are allowed to trust that what aligns with you will feel supportive, not demanding. As this part comes to a close, hold on to this understanding. The clarity you are cultivating is not fragile. It strengthens with use. It becomes more familiar each time you choose presence over pressure.